So our goal for today is to set up a drawing template that we can use for all the drawings from here on out. I guess we're going to need the same layers, we're going to need the same settings, we're going to need the same line types, the same text styles, the same dimension styles from drawing to drawing. And the fact is, it takes an awful long time to put all this together, so we don't really want to do this more often than we have to. So we're going to set up one file, and that one file will have everything in it properly set up from the beginning, so we can open the file and start drawing. If you take a look in your course pack, on page 72, we have the instructions on how to get started with this template. We see what we need to do is we start with a plain drawing file. So just a standard drawing file. We're going to make some adjustments to the units, to the limits. We're going to make some layers. We're going to make some text styles. And then we're going to make some dimension styles. Okay, we'll have an engineering style, a fractional inch style, an architectural style with feet and inches. And then we're going to make some things called multiliters. We haven't used these yet. We will use them in the future, but we might as well set the style up before we start working. And honestly, the dialog box is very similar to the dimension dialog box, except there's fewer things to set up. So it'll be a snap to do this after we do our dimension styles. And what I wanted to do was make it easy for you, making it easy for you basically by giving you everything you need all written out nice and clear in the unit 4 materials. When we're all done with our template, we'll be adding a border and a title block. And then this way, every time we make a drawing, it's already got a good looking border and title block included with it. Okay, so let's get started. If you turn to 72, and you want to work along with me, you can. If you think you can handle this on your own, which I'm sure you can if you want, go for it. First thing to do is to set the units. We're setting decimal units to a precision of 2 places. We're setting our angular units to decimal degrees at a precision of 2 places to the right of 0 also. Limits, bottom left corner will be 0, 0. Upper right corner, we're going to set up at 17 by 11. 17 in the X, 11 in the Y. Layers. We're going to get rid of anything that's already in there. We're going to make our own layers. I have a layer called border, layer called center, layer called construction, layer called dim, hatch, hidden, text, layer called no print, layer called visible, and a layer called viewports. So now, these are the layers that we need, and now your job will be go in, and what you want to do is you want to set up the color, line type, and line weight, and then be careful that you didn't do what I just did, which is I had the def points layer current, so when all these drawing layers came in, they all came in turned off. It'd be real fun at plotting time when you go to plot it and you don't see anything because everything's turned off. So we set up the layer names and then set up the layer characteristics. Alright, so then our layers have names, they have colors, they have line types where appropriate, and they have line weights. And that takes care of our layers. ST brings up the style manager. Anything that might be in there that we don't need, we'll get rid of. Of course, in a fresh, clean drawing, we would have standard and annotative, and that would be it. And what we want to do is we want to set up our new style. So, new style. City blueprint. And city blueprint is going to use the city blueprint font. Height is 0. That's what city blueprint looks like. Looks good. Now, you also need the Romans font, right? We want that Romans style. And if you've already used it in another drawing, instead of recreating it, if you want to, hit Control-2. Right, and here is our design center. So we should be able to go, and we should be able to do a little exploring, and we should be able to find CAD drawings. And in those CAD drawings, we should be able to find the Roman S text style if that is in the drawing that we've made. Roman S, pull it, drag it, drop it. And I see the Roman S and the city blueprint are along with my standard and annotative. Now you've got the same deal with your dimension styles. We've got to make several of them. I'll get rid of this one. And getting rid of that dimension style will now let me go to my text styles and get rid of that style, which I don't want anymore. So our file has standard, annotative, city blueprint, and Romans. Now for our dimension styles, we're going to start off by stealing that decimal 2 style. Now, if you're not sure if you did it correctly, there's nothing wrong with rebuilding the style from scratch. You can go down to your course pack, you can look back into last week's material. And starting on page 59, the decimal dimension style, set to 2 places, decimal 2. If you want to, you can go through and you can recreate it from scratch. If you had some questions or things weren't working out correctly, or I gave you some feedback and said yours isn't cutting it. So that's an option. But if yours is fine, Control-2 brings up the browser. And then what we can do is we can go to the drawing. We can go to the dimension styles in that drawing, and if you have decimal 2, you can grab it and drag it and drop it. And now decimal 2 is in the drawing. Okay, so I got the proper text styles. I've got decimal 2. And starting on page 73 of the course pack, I've got to go in there and I've got to make a few more styles for dimensions. So our first style after decimal 2 is called engineering, and these are the settings. Okay, and if you want to, we can set one up together. New style. Call it engineering. And let's start off from the standard style. Continue. Okay, we'll work from the first tab out. For the extension lines, extend 0.125 beyond the dimension lines. For symbols and arrows, make the arrow size 0.125. No center mark. For text, we want the style to be Roman S. We want the height 0.125. We want the offset 0.05, 5/100ths. And for primary units, we want engineering units. We'd like them set up to the nearest 100th of an inch. So feet, inches, and 100ths of an inch. And those will be our settings for the engineering style. And there it is. You're going to do the same thing to create the fractional dimension style and the architectural dimension style. Except on this one, please note that you need to start with the symbols and arrows tab instead of with the line tab. Okay, and when you are all done, we'll be ready to go on to the next step, which is creating multi-leaders.